Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition. Great to be with you. Thanks for tuning in. We are the Formula One of health talk shows. I was talking with Gary, one of my producers, before coming on air today, and I told him I watched the Formula One race on Sunday. I'm a Formula One fan, and I didn't know he was either. And I'm just such a big fan of Formula One racing. And but there's another part of that story. I'll tell you about it in a moment. I'm so glad that you could tune in, and we're so delighted to be here. And I don't. That's not a throwaway line. I just can't tell you how much I enjoy coming in and getting ready for this show. There's a lot of production that goes into the show and after the show, and there's much that goes on. But we enjoy every minute of it. And I got two great producers, Stephen and Gary. Stephen's on one side of the glass. Gary's in here with me. And Gary does the production for the streaming, plus he does the media and marketing with me, and the marketing department. The show has grown over the years, and that's what it started out was just me. That was it, by myself, and we took 12 years. Success overnight, thanks to you.
Well, it's your second week of chemo.
Second dose.
Second dose.
Yeah.
How you feeling?
Okay. I want to mention, first of all, thank you for asking. And Gary's been with, and Stephen too. Both of these young men have been with me through all of it. Unfortunately for Gary, he just came back in October. He just started. And then I had to come in one day and tell everybody that I was not well and had cancer. And he's been fabulous, and Stephen has been great. Everybody. So what's going on, and I wanted to share this with you. It might help you in coping when you're ill. Turns out that I went through all the treatment. I won't get into that. And then I went into surgery on October 30th, and they had to remove the upper lobe of my left lung because they found this small lesion on my lung when they were trying to figure out what was going on in my neck from the HPV-16. So it turned out I had two different forms of cancer, but the small lesion on my lung was a wild card, as my oncologist put it, Dr. Fink. What was interesting about the treatment, the chemo that they administered for the cancer in my neck caused by HPV-16 virus shrunk the lesion on my lung, which was located in the upper left lobe on the perimeter, which was good. Location is everything. Location and size of tumors, I've learned in the world of cancer, is a big deal. When the surgeon came in on Friday morning, the surgery was on March 30th, it was a Friday morning. He came in, he said everything went well. It only took him an hour and a half. Usually it takes 3 hours, and he did it robotically, so they didn't have to cut me open. And then I have not disclosed this on air, so this is new. What he said to me was that the lesion had penetrated my visceral pleura. The pleura is like a sac in which the lung sits. Here's a little anatomy lesson. There's a parietal pleura, which is on the outside. A visceral pleura is on the inside. When the lesion, although it shrunk in size, it went from 2.5 centimeters down to 2.3. It didn't have a high SUV value on the PET scan, so it didn't light up very much, which was good. What it did do, when it penetrated that visceral pleura, it opened a gateway for cells to seed out. Maybe none did, maybe some did, you don't know. And your PET scan will not pick up a lesion until it's about, a half a centimeter in size, several billion, 3 billion cells. But you can have cancer cells floating, and you do, circulating throughout your bloodstream in your body, and you wouldn't know it because there's nothing to pick them up on a PET scan, won't do it. So I was when he told me that, I said, it did what? And he said, it's called visceral pleural intrusion, VPI. And what that means is that it changes your staging. I was stage lung cancer, adenocarcinoma 1A. I went to 1B. That reduces your 5-year survival rate and increases recurrence. Well, there's a therapy for that. It's called adjuvant chemotherapy. And my doctor told me about it. He said, you have to make the decision, Dr. Garko, if you want to do it. We have to wait until you feel stronger. I elected to have more chemo. And I started that 2 doses ago. It's carboplatin plus Alimta, which is a drug for lung cancer. And the carboplatin is another form of chemo drug. I used cisplatin the first time. And I thought that the carboplatin would be less side effect ridden. Well, and I joked with my oncologist. I said, oh, it's chemo light. And he looked at me and he said, no, there's no such thing, Dr. Garko, as chemo light. So this past Monday was my 2nd dose. And I want to tell you something. All week, it's been a challenge. Thanks to a listener, Michael, I've been able to control the lesions in my mouth using L-glutamine. He sent me a text or let me know and sent me some articles. I did the research myself also and found that there's clinical trials to show that L-glutamine will keep at bay what's called chemomucositis, where you have these large lesions in your mouth. I had that the first time. The pain and suffering with that was off the chain. I've been able to control that. What has happened now is now I have lesions on my body. They're like welts. And you just can't make it up. So today I'm going to find out what that's about. I'm probably having a reaction to the chemo or the Alimta. But I didn't feel well all week. I did the show. You would never know that. But on Saturday or on Sunday and Saturday, you just don't feel well. And Formula One came on, and it was a highlight of my day. Made me feel good. And I told Gary on Sunday, I made my way to Starbucks. It took me till 2 o'clock. And this is the God's truth. I got out of my vehicle, and I needed to walk about 50 yards to get to the store, to the Starbucks store, because I park out on the perimeter. I don't want people to bang up my doors. And I literally had to stop, and I had to catch my breath for a second in my composure. And I said, left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. That's the level of concentration and focus that you have to have. I was not feeling, if you feel so unwell. So here's what I'm telling and sharing with you. Is this. When you're that sick, the inclination is to panic. Okay? Because it's just natural. You have to resist that temptation. On Wednesday night, I was so ill, I had to lie down on the sofa because I felt like I was going to throw up, and just lay there, turn the air conditioner down to cold so I could take it, and lay there quietly and not move, and stay silent and quiet and not panic. As hungry as I was, I couldn't get up to eat, make myself something. That's what you have to learn to do. There's no manual for this, my friends. You learn this as you go. And the panic is what you fight off. The panic and the fear. Because you don't know what's happening. And you learn how to do that. Well, I'll tell you. Just when you think you've learned something in life, something comes along to teach you some more, right? Not to panic. So if you're ill, but it may not be cancer, maybe something else, you have to learn how to manage the panic. Come back. We'll talk about some other things. I'm so delighted to be with you.
I'm Joy McCarthy, holistic nutritionist, and I expect more from my multivitamin. I've researched many vitamins, and what's truly different about Every Woman's One Daily from New Chapter is that it's fermented with probiotics and whole foods and gentle even on an empty stomach. Every Woman's One Daily helps you feel good every day. giving you immune, energy, and stress support, and nutrients for bone and heart health. You will notice a difference. Every Woman's One Daily recently won the Best Multivitamin Award, and I love that it's non-GMO project verified. Discover the wisdom of nature with New Chapter.
Whether you spend your free time on a treadmill, under a car, or in your garden, if your active lifestyle leaves you sore, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce may be exactly what you need. Inflammaforce has a natural herb blend that acts as an anti-inflammatory to help maintain healthy joint and mobility support. There are standardized herbs like white willow, boswellia, turmeric, ginger, and devil's claw. The vegetarian capsule promotes easy digestion and a fast-acting dissolve process. Inflammaforce includes a proprietary enzyme herbal blend full of antioxidants and flavonoids that target pain and inflammation throughout the body. Body Vigor's Inflammaforce contains ingredients that support normal, healthy joint flexibility and function, builds healthy tissue, and helps with your recovery process. So if you're tired of sore joints and inflamed muscles, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce is your answer. Purchase Inflammaforce exclusively on Amazon.com.
Now, welcome back. Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition. I'm talking about panic attacks when people are sick. This is true. So I'm sharing this with you for those of you who are out there, and there are thousands of people that listen and watch the show coast to coast. And I know statistically that there are more than a few that are not well. And this may happen to you, and I wanted to let you know that it's not uncommon and that you have to figure out how to manage it. And I didn't know anything about that until I got sick. I didn't realize that. and there's no manual, right? And I was telling Gary during commercial break, this happened to me in the middle of my treatment several months ago, 3 or 4 months ago. And that's how I learned about this. And I was experiencing that again this week because I was not feeling so well from the chemo this round. This is all preventative. And this is adjuvant chemotherapy, 4 doses, takes 3 months to do. But you feel so unwell, you panic. You have to learn how not to do that. And you can. And first, you have to be aware that it's happening to you. Secondly, you have to realize what I have found, keeping the temperature cool, the heat seems to exacerbate things. In fact, panic attacks are worse during the summertime, in case you want to know. Especially if you have allergies and you have pollen on top of that, it can be worse. So you have to figure out how to do it, and I figured out the way I need to do it. So that's what happened this past week. But I feel much better today, and we're good. I love, again, being here with you. And people look at me and say, they don't even know I'm sick, let alone, doing chemo.
Well, I want to ask you a question. And you're going to look at me like I'm off the chain weird. Radiation is pinpointed?
Yes.
And chemo, how is that administered?
2 ways. Either through pills, which I have not done, or intravenous. And you sit for 2 or 4 hours, 4 hours, usually is the length of time, and they put the chemo drug in with other drugs, steroids and other things. And it takes, depending on the type of chemo, it can take up to 4 hours. This round, since it's preventative, it's carboplatin. It takes 2 hours to do. And they put steroid, they put Alimta in it, a lung cancer drug. And this is all preventative because my doctor said, he declared several weeks ago, he said, there are no detectable signs of cancer in your body. So we came from stage 4 cancer in my neck from a virus and a lesion on my lung to this stage. Do you think I feel grateful? Do you think every breath I take is a value? You have no idea. And my doctor said to me the other day, when I looked at him, I have not disclosed this to anybody on the air. This is new. I looked at him, we were talking about how the lesion penetrated my pleura of my lung, and I said, I guess I couldn't catch a break on the VPI, visceral pleural intrusion. And he looked at me and he said, that's not true. He got real stern with me. He said, I've been trying to save your life for the last 6 months. He said, you were stage 4. Squamous cell carcinoma of the cervical lymph nodes, and you had a lesion on your lung. You would have been dead in 3 years if it weren't for the cancer in your neck. That virus hadn't infected you. I've been trying to save your life. He never said it that way before. And my daughter was on the phone. She was conferenced in. She heard that. And let me just tell you, when you have an oncologist look at you and tell you that, and he said, you're so lucky. You are so lucky. And he made me realize it. So that's the journey. And I've been honest with everybody, and I've told you everything. And some told me not to do that. I was advised not to do it by some. I slept on it. I thought about it long and hard. And I said, no, I got to share it because I got to teach and help others. And I can. And the lesson today is don't panic. Panic attacks are common with illness. I now learned that the hard way. And it can be managed. You should talk with your doctor about it. Whether it doesn't have to be cancer, it can be anything. People panic with the flu. So I'm just saying. So when I tell you I'm grateful, yep, that's the truth. So if you like to call, chime in, Dominique Ostrander is my guest today. She sent me an email. She got stuff on her mind she wants to talk about. I shared that with you. I hope it's not too much, but I feel compelled to tell you, and I just want to be honest about everything. Go ahead.
You can reach us at 877-897-8255. That's 877-897-8255.
Go ahead.
I was going to tell people they can follow us on Facebook at Let's Talk Nutrition, one word, and on Instagram at Let's Talk Nutrition. And so I've been working on your Twitter. I got some pictures.
Okay.
I got to get you to make some comments.
Okay.
And we're going to get your Twitter running, hopefully.
Yeah, Gary's trying to get me into that world. You know, I'm on Facebook. I'm good there. Twitter, I have to work at. He's going to help me. Tweet us. tweet. We'll come back and we'll continue. There's a lot going on with this show, and I'll share those things with you as we go along. We're so excited. I'm so excited about it. Got a crew now that really is on top of everything, and the people for whom I work are fabulous, and they support it all. So Let's Talk Nutrition, thanks to you, is coast to coast.
Looking for the perfect complement to your beauty regimen? Try Form Essentials Zinnia. The finest of its kind, Zinnia offers twice as much biotin as other formulas, which has proven to unlock the vibrancy in even the dullest of hair, skin, and nails. Zinnia breaks through and rejuvenates cells internally, helping you achieve the allure of effortless beauty. Reviving your hair, skin, and nails has never been easier. This essential blend of biotin, alpha-lipoic, and hyaluronic acid, collagen, and vitamin C creates lasting enhancements to your natural good looks. Don't go on wondering. You're worth the results. This combination of ingredients can only be found in Zinnia. Pamper yourself with a proven bit of affordable luxury and start looking your best. Ask for Zinnia by name at your nearest vitamin retailer to begin your journey to restored nails, head-turning hair, and radiant skin today. For more information, visit formessentials.com.
When your alarm goes off, do you jump out of bed with excitement? Or does it take multiple alarms, a few snooze buttons, or a morning caffeine fix to get you going? These habits and daily stress cause a vicious cycle in which sleep becomes increasingly elusive. In fact, 54% of Americans report struggles to fall or stay asleep. For a better night's rest, look no further than Solace, an all-natural dietary supplement that supports healthy sleep and relaxation, so you get the rest you need to wake up clear-eyed, alert, and ready for the day. Solace has given thousands a better night's rest and the power to take back their mornings while enjoying the day ahead of them. Solace is formulated with non-addictive, scientifically proven, all-natural ingredients that support sleep and relaxation, such as melatonin, tryptophan, and 5-HTP. For more information or to order Solace, visit takesolace.com. Solace, for healthy sleep naturally.
Welcome back. Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition, wherever and however you may be listening or watching the show and whatever you may be doing. If you're watching the show, you see the Jarrow Formula logo sign behind me, background, and that's a big hint. They might be on the show, and by goodness they are. And Dominique Ostrander is the educator for Jarrow Formulas. I've known her for over 20 years. I've known her dad all that time, too, and they're great people, and Jarrow's lucky to have her. And she works very hard at her job, travels, I don't know how she does it, traveling around educating retailers and consumers and whatnot. That's a tough gig, but she seems to like it. Welcome back to LTN. Dominique, glad you can make it today.
Thank you, Dr. Garko. Thank you very much. So I'm listening very intently to your
monologue.
What you've been going through. Yes, to what you've been going through, and yeah, that's quite a life challenge, really, and really handling it with such incredible grace.
Try, and every day, one of the things in my writings now, when I'm documenting everything, what I notice is every day since October the 5th has been different. No day has been the same. Those of you who are out there who are ill with some, compelling disease or condition, you may have experienced that too. No 2 days are alike. You would think that, you're sick, one day is the same as the next. Dominique, it's not. Mm-hmm. And I told Gary this many times. I said, every day is different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've said that to me too.
It's an interesting phenomenon. You can't make it up. You think, what variation could there be? It's either a variation on an old theme or something new pops up.
Exactly.
Have you ever experienced that or heard people talk about it like that?
I have. It's interesting you bring this up. My daughter recently, who's going to be 22 next month.
I can't believe it. I remember she was 3.
I know. It's crazy. Time flies. She recently had surgery for what they suspected was endometriosis.
Ooh.
And the doctor pulled me into the complication room right after her surgery and said, Katie has the worst case of endometriosis that she has ever seen.
Oh, Jesus.
And Katie had been complaining of abdominal pain for years. And when you talk about the panic with the intense pain, and it would be, literally talking her through panic attack after panic attack because of the horrible pain that she was experiencing, and learning how to deal with whatever comes up for her, because every day has literally been different. Whether it was exacerbated hormonally, what was going on, the whatever pain, but it was always some variation. Some days seemed more similar, other days were, wow, this is completely new pain or symptoms.
So this business of panic attacks when ill, this is an interesting phenomenon. So Katie experienced it too. I'm sure that many of the listeners and viewers of the show, there are more than a few, who have experienced that too. And it catches you by surprise. And I never knew much about that until I got sick. And I've had to learn, because there's no manual. There's no manual. You have to figure it out. And I had to figure it out on my own. And what I figured out, a little technique for me: keep the room cool, lie down, lie still, don't move, breathe from your diaphragm as much as you can, and stay quiet. And try to just stay calm. It takes a little discipline to do that when you're not feeling so well and you feel like you want to throw up and you're in pain, but you have to learn how to do it.
She would have, in those times, because the tendency, right, it's a fight or flight, right? Panic is fight or flight.
Yes, it is.
And so your tendency is to reach outward rather than to calm inward. And so it took her some training too to slow her mind down, to just say, okay, I need to be quiet and still.
So she figured that out too.
She figured that out, and I think that was just from years of having to talk her through panic attacks, really. But it's interesting, pharmacologically, when they treat pain, intense pain, they will give somebody a benzodiazepam, an anti-anxiety drug, in combination with a pain pill for that very reason,
Yeah, see,
pharmacologically.
my oncologist asked me if I want it, and I told him no. He said, "I know you. I figured you'd say no," and I didn't take any of that. So, and with each episode, there's something new. Before I had mucositis, these large lesions in my mouth, I managed to figure that out thanks to a listener who turned me on to L-glutamine and the research, and now I'm taking it every day. And like 2 full tablespoons or 4, and those lesions are gone. Guess what? Now they're on my body, and they're like welts. So you see, it's always a variation, and you can't panic. You just can't panic, and it's hard. And, by the way, endometriosis is painful. It's a disorder where the tissue that typically lines the inside of the uterus, the endometrium is called, will grow outside of the uterus.
That's
And it involves your ovaries, fallopian tubes, and the tissue lining your pelvis. And it is, I don't, of course, I wouldn't know what that pain is because I don't have a uterus. So, but I am sure that it's severe and distracting. The poor thing, she had that for years, and I know that a lot of you women listening probably have shared. Many have had this too. And what's the ultimate treatment here?
Well, the ultimate treatment, we're actually going to find out later today. One of the suggestions was to shut down her ovaries completely, and without, obviously, because she's so young and still wants to have a family.
Oh boy!
But putting her into an early menopause for right now, to have her ovaries just stop producing hormones, to then stop producing endometrium or endometriomas where they shouldn't be. So, I mean, she has them all the way into her liver. I mean, it's poor thing. I mean, her doctor said, Katie is no coward by any means because of the amount of pain that she's had to endure.
Poor thing. With endometriosis, we're about educating here. You have this, what they say, displaced endometrial tissue that will act as it normally would, but it thickens, and it breaks down and bleeds with each menstrual cycle. And this displaced tissue has no way to exit the body. It becomes literally trapped, and then when endometriosis involves the ovaries, cysts called endometriomas form. Surrounding the tissue the surrounding tissue becomes irritated or can become inflamed or irritated, and then you develop scar tissue and adhesions, and then there's more to it. I'll explain, but you can see, complicated and painful.
Whether you spend your free time on a treadmill, under a car, or in your garden, if your active lifestyle leaves you sore, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce may be exactly what you need. Inflammaforce has a natural herb blend that acts as an anti-inflammatory to help maintain healthy joint and mobility support. There are standardized herbs like white willow, boswellia, turmeric, ginger, and devil's claw. The vegetarian capsule promotes easy digestion and a fast-acting dissolve process. Inflammaforce includes a proprietary enzyme herbal blend full of antioxidants and flavonoids that target pain and inflammation throughout the body. Body Vigor's Inflammaforce contains ingredients that support normal, healthy joint flexibility and function, builds healthy tissue, and helps with your recovery process. So if you're tired of sore joints and inflamed muscles, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce is your answer. Purchase Inflammaforce exclusively on Amazon.com.
Welcome back. Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition. I'm talking with Dominique Ostrander. It turns out, unfortunately, I've never talked about endometriosis on the show before. Unfortunately, her daughter has suffered with this. Those women out there who have this condition, you know how challenging it is. And Dominique, welcome back. Well, first, please tell Katie that I'm so sorry that she's experiencing this, and I was asking about her. I wanted to finish my thought about endometriosis. When the surrounding tissues become irritated, they develop the scar tissue and then the adhesions, as I commented, and then abnormal bands of fibrous tissue will cause pelvic tissue and organs to stick to each other. This can get very complicated, and it's awfully painful, as I understand it. And I guess Katie's told you this, and you've seen it.
For sure.
Yeah. And panic attacks are very common when you're in a lot of pain. And I was sharing that at the top of the show, and then Dominique came on and also said that her daughter was experiencing. You have to learn how to stay calm. She figured it out too, huh?
She did.
Yeah.
She did. It took a while. It definitely took a while, and she still struggles with it. It's definitely an ongoing process.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that she has to deal with because right now, nothing is treatment. She's not in any treatment yet. She did have some endometriomas removed in her right ovary 2 weeks ago when she had her surgery, and what they thought was another one in her left. But the problem with the part of the endometriosis that attaches to different parts in the bowel and the rectum and all over the abdomen is that it would require an oncological surgeon who is very apt at dissecting tissue from organs in order to
Where do you
separate.
find that surgeon?
Right, exactly. And so it usually requires more than one surgeon. Like even her surgery a couple weeks ago was 2 surgeons doing the surgery.
Oh, my goodness.
And because it's very intricate and there's a risk of bleeding and there's a risk of perforating the bowel and there's all kinds of things that are potentially life-threatening with this type of disease. It's terrible, and I think a lot of women really suffer with this, and they suffer in silence and don't really discuss it other than with their doctors. It's not something that women go around, they'll just say, I have terrible menstrual cramps or whatever, but it's actually far more complicated than that.
Yeah, and this is a case where I don't know what the therapy is. I mean, what do you do?
No hormones. That's the therapy. They want to shut down. They want to do everything they can to stop the hormones from facilitating the endometrium from growing out of control. So the treatment is to do a hysterectomy or to shut down the ovaries and put her into a menopause. And they do add back hormones so she doesn't suffer like women do when they go through menopause with hot flashes and all those kinds of things. And hopefully then when she's ready to have children, she could then have children and stop these hormones that are creating the menopause.
So the hormones, which would include estrogen, are released by the ovaries, and then the estrogen causes the endometrial tissue to grow, and then the endometrial tissue grows and leads to painful symptoms and scarring. Is that the sequence?
Mm-hmm. Right, and what happens is a lot of women with endometriosis develop such terrible scar tissue that they become infertile.
Is this genetic, environmental, or they don't know?
To my knowledge, they don't know yet. They don't know. They don't have anything very conclusive yet. I had endometriosis, but not nearly to the extent that Katie does. I had very small amounts, but nothing in comparison to her.
Wow.
But you have to wonder, I often say to Katie now, the the diet, the things that.
Well, you're reading, honest to God,
exposure.
you're reading my mind. Go ahead.
Yeah, all these things that, like, for example, my generation weren't exposed to, or at least I wasn't to the extreme, just maybe because of my own dietary choices, my own exercise habits, things like that, that you have to wonder are perpetuating this estrogen that's out of control. Hormone-ridden food, for one thing.
Well, you were reading my mind. I didn't want to go there because people are going to say, you're always trying to make it about diet and lifestyle. Well, I'm just saying that the lion's share of these diseases is caused by diet and lifestyle. I'm sorry. Diet is the leading cause of chronic diseases. It is. When you make the causal chain, diet, they leave that part out. They say it's caused, and they either pick it up at the second link in the chain or the third link. You have to go back to the first link in the chain. And diet is the leading cause of disease. It turns out that diet is implicated with endometrial health. And you're right on the money about this. Dr. Michael Greger, if you go on YouTube, type in Dr. Michael Greger, he'll talk about treating endometriosis with seaweed, of all things. Now, this is a classically trained physician, and he's talking about seaweed. That's how smart he is. He figured it out. Go to nutritionfacts.org. Type in Dr. Michael Greger. Go on YouTube. You'll find his videos. He's fabulous, man. He's one of the best. It's all science. He even shows you the articles in the YouTube. So there is a diet connection here. You're right on the money, Dominique. You're right on the money. This processed way of eating and what they're putting in the foods, these xenoestrogens and all the things that we're picking up from the environment due to pesticides and the chemicals in foods, my belief is contributor. I'm just saying. So, my best to Katie. Tell her I love her, and thank you for sharing that. I know that's a family matter, and you made it public, and I'm very grateful you did, because you're helping to educate. Let's talk nutrition. That wasn't planned. It wasn't on the menu, but you know what? That's okay. It's good. We're here to learn. Me first. I'm the student. I'm sitting in the front row. I'm remedial. I can learn. We're here. Love being with you. We're coast to coast, including Hawaii. Jarrow Formulas is the sponsor for today's show. They've been with me all 12 years. Did you know that, Dominique? 12 years.
I do know that, and I'm very happy and proud of that relationship.
So am I. We'll be back. So much more to come. Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition. Thanks for tuning in. Great to be with you. Start of a new week. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. And you're a Formula One fan. You saw that race on Sunday on TV. I loved it. At the end was great. If you're not a Formula One fan, then you're saying, don't waste my time talking about that. But we are the Formula One of health talk show hosts shows. I would like to think, high performance takes a lot of engineering and technique and whatnot to make it happen. It's complicated, but a lot goes on before we come on the air, and a lot goes on after. But you don't need to know much about that. We won't burden you with it, but it's fun to do, and we're delighted to be with you as always. My guest today is Dominique Ostrander. She shared a very personal thing about her daughter, whom I've known since she was almost an infant, darn near. Maybe 2 or 3 years old. That's when I got to know Dominique. I've known her all these years. And her daughter has endometriosis. It's, as many of you women out there who suffer from this condition know, or know somebody who has, or is, it's serious and painful. Never talked about it much on the show before. That's a first, but I'm thankful that she brought it up. We're here to educate. I place a lot of, the show's called Let's Talk Nutrition, and that's by design. Why? Because the point of view of Let's Talk Nutrition is nutrition is the first principle of health. All roads lead back to nutrition and diet is the leading cause of disease. Diet is also the leading cause of good health. We always invite you to join in our conversation. We love the dialogue. Please call us. When you call, it makes my day. I want to hear what's on your mind, what you're thinking, what you're doing. I've learned a lot from you. My thanks to Michael, who sent me an email one day or a text and sent me a package that said, Doc, take L-glutamine for the lesions in your mouth from the chemo. And he turned out to be right. And it helped me a lot. Thank you. So, you see, I learned just as much, maybe more from you than you learned from me. Give us a call. Get dialed in.
You can reach us at 877-897-8255. That's 877-897-8255.
And there's one more piece of business I need to take care of. On Sunday, I ran into my pal, Bruce. And he told me a story about high school reunions, and he got in touch with one of his pals from high school, whose name is Joel. And so they were talking. They met at Starbucks someplace, and they were talking. And somehow the show came up. And Joel said to Bruce, my friend Bruce, I listen to that show every day. And Bruce said, Doc, he loves the show. Joel loves it. He listens all the time. He never misses. And he just is a big fan. I can't say Joel's last name. I don't have permission. But I know he's probably listening today. And I just want to thank him for, I'm honored that you think so much of the show. And it's a small world. And you never know who's listening, Gary. You never know who's listening. Oh, yeah. You learned that. You've been in radio a long time, right?
Oh, yeah. I get it all the time still. People are like, I know you.
I know you.
Yeah.
Gary used to be the producer for Bubba, the Love Sponge. I'm not Bubba. I'm Dr. Garker. I'm love of a different kind. So, Joel, thank you so much. We appreciate your listenership, and I'm grateful that you are a listener. High-fat diets. I'm going to keep trying, and I'm going to stick to my story. I'm not going to change it. I am not a fan of this open valve consumption of fat. And there's a wrong message being promulgated by healthcare professionals. Some of my friends and colleagues, and I call them on it. They don't like it. They get mad at me, and I don't care. It's not. They say it's not the fat. It's the carbohydrate. Blah blah blah. Yeah. First of all, they're wrong. They never specify what carbohydrate they're taught. Not never. They typically don't want to do that. I never known anybody to get disease from eating broccoli. Okay? And starchy vegetables, legumes, seeds, nuts. Okay? And they promote the consumption of saturated fat. It is wrong-headed, wrong-minded, and bad advice. Here's another reason to avoid a high-fat diet. How about this? It's linked to colorectal cancer. We've known that for a long time. Gary's going to show you the press release. Show him the picture of the food, Gary. There it is. That image, right there it is. That is a image of nutritional sin of the first order. Look at that. There is evidence that links an unhealthy diet and colorectal cancer. And that the data are formidable. Now, heretofore, they say that the underlying mechanism for this correlation has been unclear. I'm paraphrasing from the release. But a new study from Cleveland Clinic, the researchers there identified a cellular signaling pathway. It's called, if you want to know, JAK2 STAT3, whatever that devil that means. And it apparently is the primary driver of cancer stem cells in the colon in response to a high-fat diet. This is not science fiction. Please stop eating the saturated fat. And I don't care if it's coming from coconut oil or any other kind of whatever that's quote-unquote is healthy. Consuming it in large quantities is a bad idea. Don't do it. They also found that in an experiment with mice, when they fed them a high-fat, when they blocked this JAK2 STAT3 pathway, and that mice were fed a high-fat diet, it stopped the growth of the stem cells. So what does that mean? That means that's a hint that they're going to do what? They'll probably develop some drugs to create that blocking of that pathway to treat colorectal cancer. That's fine, well and good. Okay, I'm all for it. Go ahead. But there's a natural thing to do. How about this? Try this on nutritionally. Don't eat a high-fat diet, man. Please. I'm begging you. I know people now putting butter in their coffee, coconut oil in their coffee, drinking the coconut oil. Coconut oil is fine, medium chain triglyceride. It wasn't meant to be overconsumed. I'm just saying. And you can go to Cochrane, go to PubMed, go to any database that's health related. There is more research on the link between a high-fat diet and cancer, breast cancer, colorectal cancer, prostate cancer. I can go on and on. It's not wise to do. I'm sorry. Don't get caught up in this nonsense that carbohydrate is the enemy. Really? It's the refined processed carbohydrate, the cookies, crackers, cakes, chips, cupcakes, colas, croissants, all those C words. I am passionate about this because I feel that people are being misled. They're misunderstanding the message. When we come back, I'll get my guest take on this, high-fat diets and cancer. High-fat diets also are related to heart disease, by the way. Check out Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn. See what he has to say about that. He even tells you not to use oil. No oil.
Almost 52% of men experience erectile dysfunction and benign prostatic hyperplasia. If you've had challenges with virility, sexual health, or low energy, Body Vigor's Alpha Extension may be the answer for you. Body Vigor's Alpha Extension can help revitalize your alpha male and extend your love. Our formula is one of the highest quality nutraceuticals available, formulated to support the processes involved in promoting a healthy male sex drive, energy, and stamina. Alpha Extension has 2 powerful herbal blends, Virilo Max, which focuses on male sexual health, and T-Pump Activator, which helps balance your testosterone levels. Revitalize your alpha male with Body Vigor's Alpha Extension, exclusively available on Amazon.com.
Let's go straight to Lansdale, Pennsylvania, up by Philly. The show is very popular in that market, and we're thankful. Mary, welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition. Thank you for calling in today.
Thank you for picking up my call.
Absolutely. Nice to hear you. Nice to hear you.
My question is very tough, okay?
What's that?
I said sorry to call you again. My question is a tough question.
Well, we love that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I do not drink milk anymore because of it is carbohydrate. I found out that in the market they have coconut milk and they have flax milk.
Coconut and flax milk. Okay.
Flax milk probably from flaxseed. They spell the same.
Yes, of course.
They said that they have 12 milligram of omega-3.
Yes.
Only 50 calories. My question to you is, are they carb? I do not want to eat a lot of carbohydrate because of my family background of diabetes. I am afraid of.
Okay. First of all, don't hang up the phone.
Okay.
There's a little confusion there, and we'll try to clear that up for you, and I'll give you my take, and then I'm going to give you a book to read.
Okay.
And we'll talk about this. I want my guest to weigh in on this.
Okay.
Dominique, you heard Mary's question. She always asks good questions.
Thank you.
Flax or coconut milk, she wants to know, are those carbohydrate? Are those good to take? What's the difference? Let's talk about it.
Well, you'd have to do the unsweetened versions for sure.
There are carbohydrate in but there's also protein and fat in those products.
Right, exactly. And so if we're talking about a blood sugar, like you're talking about a genetic predisposition to diabetes, then really and truly the fat in those in coconut milk and flax milk would offset any kind of spike in blood sugar.
Excuse me, we will not. I don't understand what you say.
Say it again. Say it again, Dominique.
Okay.
Right.
So the fat content that's in coconut milk or flax milk theoretically could prevent a spike in blood sugar.
Okay.
Even though there is a low amount of carbohydrates. I don't know the carbohydrate content in an unsweetened coconut milk or an unsweetened flax milk. I don't even know if it varies from manufacturer to manufacturer.
It does. It does, depending on what else they're putting in there. How much are you drinking of coconut milk and flax milk?
I drink with a bowl of. I do not drink it every day on a regular basis. I eat yogurt on a regular basis. I put 3 fruit there and stir it all up, and put whey protein in it.
Okay, that's okay. That's good. That's a good idea.
Huh?
That's a good idea. That's good.
Right. Thank you. And coconut milk and flax milk I add it to my coffee. And sometimes when I'm hungry in the middle of the night, I do not want to, eat solid food because I have to floss my teeth. I drink it. So I do not drink this on the regular basis, but I do want probably maybe a cup a day because I try to minimize my calcium pill. My doctor don't like me to take all these calcium pill. She told me that get it from food.
What calcium product are you taking?
You mean what do you mean by product? You mean supplement?
Yeah.
I take. Let me look. Okay, real quick. I turn around.
Okay. Because Jarrow formula makes bone up. Taking calcium can be a good supplement to take. It also can be one of the worst to take if you're not taking the right one.
I take Citracal.
Oh, okay. All right, stop. Stop. All right, just listen to Dominique now. Tell her why Bone Up is such a good calcium product to take.
But excuse me, Dr. Gago, don't go away yet. Bone Up, I'm afraid of cow thing. I don't eat cow meat. I don't eat cow bone.
Okay, well, we'll talk about it.
I'm afraid of that kind of whatever.
Okay, let Dominique tell you what Bone Up is, and let her explain.
So, Bone Up is, we have a couple different ones. So if you wanted to do a better bone building supplement, because the whole idea of a calcium supplement is to be a complete multi-nutrient bone health system. That's the whole idea behind a calcium. So Jarrow actually makes a vegan or a vegetarian Bone Up that might be something you would want to do in place of Citracal.
What's the name of that product called?
It's our vegetarian Bone Up.
It's vegetarian Bone Up. What Dominique is saying to you, Mary, and others listening and watching the show, calcium supplements are one of the most dangerous supplements to take if they're not formulated correctly. Why? Because what those products, they're lousy raw materials and no co-nutrients, will cause the calcium to go into places it doesn't belong, like your arteries. That's why you need a product like Bone Up, even the vegetarian one, that has the co-nutrients, right, Dominique?
Exactly.
This is a great call. I've never said that on the air before. I was reluctant to say it, that calcium products are one of the most dangerous ones to take as a supplement if it's wrong. Have I gone too far?
No, I agree with you. I think that it has to be it has to be a blend. It has to have excess or other nutrients to help shuttle excess calcium.
All right,
out.
we come back, we'll explain further. This wasn't on the menu. You wanted to talk about something else today, but this is okay, right?
Of course.
Yeah, and Mary always asks, good, she writes, this is a hard question. Would I be drinking... Now, I happen to like coconut milk, quote-unquote, ice cream. It's not ice cream. I don't do dairy anymore. And I do indulge. That's one of my things to eat. It's a little treat. LTN, coast to coast.
Looking for the perfect complement to your beauty regimen? Try Form Essentials Zinnia. The finest of its kind, Zinnia offers twice as much biotin as other formulas, which has proven to unlock the vibrancy in even the dullest of hair, skin, and nails. Zinnia breaks through and rejuvenates cells internally, helping you achieve the allure of effortless beauty. Reviving your hair, skin, and nails has never been easier. This essential blend of biotin, alpha-lipoic, and hyaluronic acid, collagen, and vitamin C creates lasting enhancements to your natural good looks. Don't go on wondering. You're worth the results. This combination of ingredients can only be found in Zinnia. Pamper yourself with a proven bit of affordable luxury and start looking your best. Ask for Zinnia by name at your nearest vitamin retailer to begin your journey to restored nails, head-turning hair, and radiant skin today. For more information, visit formessentials.com.
When your alarm goes off, do you jump out of bed with excitement? Or does it take multiple alarms, a few snooze buttons, or a morning caffeine fix to get you going? These habits and daily stress cause a vicious cycle in which sleep becomes increasingly elusive. In fact, 54% of Americans report struggles to fall or stay asleep. For a better night's rest, look no further than Solace, an all-natural dietary supplement that supports healthy sleep and relaxation, so you get the rest you need to wake up clear-eyed, alert, and ready for the day. Solace has given thousands a better night's rest and the power to take back their mornings while enjoying the day ahead of them. Solace is formulated with non-addictive, scientifically proven, all-natural ingredients that support sleep and relaxation, such as melatonin, tryptophan, and 5-HTP. For more information or to order Solace, visit takesolace.com. Solace for healthy sleep naturally.
Did you know that 7 in 10 people have digestive issues? It's no wonder, really. When you take a closer look at what's inside, you'll see that our intestinal environment is similar to a lush garden, a flourishing biodiversity comprised of healthy gut flora. Flora that we depend upon for our health and well-being. Stress, over-sanitization, over-processed foods, and the overuse of antibiotics have clear-cut our guts, leaving our tummies feeling, well, not great. You see, what we have done by killing off the gut flora is damage the soil of our inner gardens. With damaged soil, nothing can really grow or flourish, and disease starts to set in. But we will let you in on a little secret. Fermentation makes all the difference. You know that bloated feeling you can get when taking a vegan protein? Oh, come on. We know you know. Almost all of us get it. That feeling comes from a natural protective casing that surrounds grains and legumes. Because this casing acts as a natural defense mechanism to prevent the grain or legume from being digested, the result is gas and bloating as it passes through our digestive tract. This is where the magic of fermentation comes in. Only fermentation breaks down this casing, freeing the nutrients for absorption by your body. Not only that, but it amplifies the existing nutrients. This means you are getting all the available nutrients from your protein. But there's more. Remember our garden that we clear cut? Well, fermentation, when done right, actually restores that biodiversity of flora. Fermentation naturally replenishes the soil in our garden. Can your protein powder do all that? Well, ours can. Fermented Vegan Proteins Plus by Genuine Health. 7 plant-based sources for a complete amino acid profile. No bloating, maximizes protein and nutrient absorption, and strengthens your gut health. Gluten-free, soy-free, dairy-free, non-GMO, and 100% vegan. Try some today. Your gut will thank you. Genuine Health is possible.
Now I'm trying to use my coconut, but I'm confused. Coconut oil, coconut milk, coconut flakes. Is coconut good for you or is it harmful? Welcome back to Let's Talk Nutrition. Try to figure it out, sort out. It's crazy. Go ahead, Dominique. Please pick up this business of for Mary, the vegetarian bone up, and why it's such a wonderful option for her.
Well, the whole idea is that she wants to increase her bone density. Obviously, that's a concern for her and her physician. But at the same time, not to have excess calcium be deposited in places like her arteries, like we talked about before the break. So when you put together a bone-building supplement, it's very important to put together the right nutrients that will create the matrix, but also not allow excess calcium to be deposited into the bones. So vegetarian bone-up is a perfect combination for her. Number one, she doesn't have, as she said, the scary. She doesn't want to take anything from a cow, I think is what Mary said.
Right.
So our vegetarian bone-up it's a calcium citrate, unlike our regular bone-up, which is the osteine hydroxyapatite, which is a different form of calcium. The vitamin D2, potassium, MK7, boron, manganese, copper, and zinc. So altogether help promote bone matrix.
Okay, so that is the advice here, Mary. I'm not going to comment on the product that you're using, whether it's good, bad, or otherwise. I'll just say that if you gave me a choice, I would take the Bone Up, the vegetarian brand, since I don't do animal or dairy anymore. That's the one I would use. You can infer what you will from that. In terms of coconut, I'll let Dominique give her take on coconut oil, coconut milk, coconut flakes, coconut. Use your coconut. Go ahead and tell us what you think.
Well, I agree with Mary wanting to limit her carbohydrate intake, especially if there's a genetic predisposition to diabetes or if she's already borderline or a combination of. I think having some fat like coconut oil is a good idea, whether she has it in coconut milk. I think I I can't tell you how much I emphatically agree with you about not having this amount of saturated fat in excess, regardless of the fact that, well, it doesn't have carbohydrates, and so therefore it's better. It's not going to cause an insulin spike, blah, blah. It's not okay. So I think it definitely has to be in moderation. I agree with you.
Okay.
So coconut oil, I would say I like the idea of coconut milk versus flax.
Oh, that's interesting.
I just think it might be a little bit better tasting, for one thing. I don't know how they get rid of the bitterness with flax milk. I don't know what they have to do.
I've never had flax. I've never drank that. I've never had that.
Yeah, so that would be my first thought would be, wow, flax would seem like it would be bitter. Though it has your omega-3s, it seems like maybe the taste would be hard to comply with.
There's a book you might want to read, Mary, about diabetes. It's by Dr. Barnard, Barnard. His first name is Neil. It's entitled How to Prevent, to Treat and Prevent Type 2 Diabetes, some such title. And, How to Prevent and Reverse Diabetes. And he has. And you're going to be shocked as to the thesis of that book, because it's going to sound like he's in total disagreement with you. He would tell you that you need to eat carbohydrate, but the right kind. And he explains that in the book. He recommends a whole food plant-based diet. No dairy, no meat. I even think he says no oil, but that's a story for another day. But there's a misconception that carbohydrate is a cause of type 2 diabetes. That is just patently false. You have to specify what kind of carbohydrate you're talking. If you eat candy bars all day long, why heavens, yes. Eating starchy vegetables, legumes, seeds, and nuts, if that causes type 2 diabetes, alert the media. I don't know one study that says that. So it's not just carbohydrate. You have to always specify what kind you're talking about. Mary, do I make sense to you or not?
Yes, it does. Thank you. What is the name of the book again?
It's called How to Prevent and Reverse Diabetes by Neil Barnard. Dr. Barnard is a classically trained physician. He's more naturopathic than naturopaths. He's an allopathically trained physician. Okay. Also, you might want to read Dr. Greger's book, Dr. Michael Greger. His newest book is entitled How Not to Die. Dr. Greger is spelled Greger. If you hold on a second.
Okay.
I have a copy of the book in my bag. And I'll pull it out for you. This is live TV. There it is. How Not to Die. I'm holding it up. And the book is, it's worth a read. It's worth your time.
Okay, good.
Dominique, do you have anything else you'd like to share with Mary before we sign off with her?
No, can I ask her a question first? I have one more question for her. Is okay?
Sure.
Pick it up for me, Gary.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
I would like to ask about Jarrow, vegetarian bone-up or bone-up vegetarian. Is it okay for my aunt? My aunt have glaucoma.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, okay, good. Thank you. Then that's good. That's all my questions.
Now, in terms of coconut, going to get mad at me. Coconut oil, milk, or any other form of coconut taken in excess is just as much of a cholesterol risk as eating pork. Okay? It does raise cholesterol. It's high in saturated fat. Coconut, it's not intended to be consumed in these large quantities. I can't stress that enough. Please, anybody listening or watching, don't do it, man. Don't believe all that nonsense. You heard my guest. Jarrow Formulas makes coconut. You make coconut oil, don't you? Or milk? Or
We do.
Yeah.
We do.
And I've used it. But you use it in moderation. And you heard my guest. They sell the stuff, and she's telling you to use it moderately, sensibly. It's a risk for heart disease. And when taken in large quantities, it's loaded with saturated fat. They say, well, it's the medium chain triglycerides. Yeah, I know. It's like hanging out with a guy who robs banks, but he's a good guy. He's still a bank robber. We'll be back.
Are your joints feeling out of date and stiff? Is that old sports injury flaring up? Is your body aching from the daily wear and tear at work? Body Vigor's Joint Ready keeps you at the ready for any joint pain that gets out of line. Unfortunately, as we age, joint pain becomes more common. Body Vigor's Joint Ready can help provide relief so you can continue to go about your day. Our formula contains sulfated forms of glucosamine and chondroitin. Studies show that these sulfated forms are more effective than regular glucosamine bound to hydrochloride. Joint Ready promotes a healthy inflammatory response, facilitates cartilage synthesis, and provides additional antioxidants. Keep your joints at the ready with Body Vigor's Joint Ready, exclusively on Amazon.com.
and we were planning to make bean soup for today. We ended up making something else. It's okay. Here's the LTN health question of the day. Earlier in the show, I was reporting on a story about a study that focused on colorectal cancer. What did the researchers find? Was it a high-fat diet, a high-carbohydrate diet, or a high-protein diet that was correlated or raised the risk for colorectal cancer? Was it a high-fat diet, a carb diet, carbohydrate diet, or a high-protein diet that was correlated with a raised risk of colorectal cancer? Give us a call. Right answer, $25 supplement gift card.
You can reach us at 877-897-8255. That's 877-897-8255.
Dominique, I apologize for not getting to your menu today, but this is live radio. The caller in Lansdale asked a great question.
She did. No worries. We're on the air a lot, so we'll catch it next time. I have a question for you.
Uh-oh.
I know. I'm going to put you on the spot.
I can always say I don't know, but go ahead.
Okay, so it's not really a knowing right or wrong answer. I would like your opinion. Why do you think it is that people don't pay enough attention or care to their diet before they get sick, but as soon as they're diagnosed, that's one of the very first things they're willing to change?
Well, I have spent more than a few minutes thinking about that question, because the essence of this show is to try and persuade people to do the right thing and to take charge of their health before they get sick, or when they get sick and after they get sick. I have come to the conclusion that the relationship with food, that's what it's about, which begins in utero. And like any relationship, if it gets off on the wrong foot, it's hard to repair and to get it in a good place. And if you're brought into the world, because when your mom, while she was pregnant, consumed an improper diet, that puts you already in some deficit condition and propensity to have certain diseases and certain eating preferences. And then what you're fed the first, second, and third years of your life is a big deal. Whatever the food you start to develop a taste for, and then after, as you become, 4, 5, and 6, by the time you're in first grade, your relationship with food is, that relationship is almost not quite formed totally for sure, but it's pretty strong relationship already. And people know better, oftentimes, I have found, but yet they cannot change the behavior, and they will still eat those foods that they were taught to eat and constitute their relationship with food, even though they may even know it's not good for them. It's inexplicable. It's hard to understand. It's been puzzling. And if we knew the answer, you asked a $64,000 question.
I did.
If a physician knew the answer to that, that would make her job so much easier. They don't want to write all those prescriptions. I know. I've talked to them all the time. They would prefer that people change their diet and live a better life. And that question is really at the crux of the matter. And I think diet is the leading cause of disease. I believe that with all my heart and soul. And that's based on science, not my opinion. And you were in cardiac rehab. You had clients. You had people that could have a heart attack any day, but they'll stop off at any one of those fast foods. It's like going into the hood and getting, bad stuff, if you know what I mean.
I do. And the changes that they make perhaps are big for them. I might look at those changes and go, well, that's so small and you could do more, but maybe compared to where they were, those little changes seem like a lot.
Small wins. Those foods are addictive. I have colleagues who disagree with me about this. They don't even like the idea of food addiction. They say they're not the same as drugs. I respectfully disagree. I looked at the science.
I agree with you. I'm on your page.
That sugar is addictive. Fat is addictive. And those foods, they run the same neural pathways. When you have drug addiction, it's the same neural pathways. And there are a lot of smarter people in that arena than I that have the studies to support this. And addiction is what it is. I know people that have lung cancer and still smoke. And I know people that have cancer and still are eating the same foods that got them into trouble.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I asked a hard question today. No callers. What was correlated with colorectal cancer? I'll give you two choices. A high-fat diet or a high-carbohydrate diet?
You can reach us at 877-897-8255. That's 877-897-8255.
Jarrow Formula's Bone Up vegetarian form, excellent choice. They also have the other that comes from an animal source. I think it's a fabulous product. It's one of the best calcium products on the market. I think calcium supplements are among the most dangerous to take if they're wrong. Right, Dominique?
Absolutely.
Any final word you like to leave with the listener and viewer today?
Well, if Mary is still listening, I would say that do everything she can not to eat or drink anything in the middle of the night, even if she wakes up hungry, other than water.
Not so easy. We have a caller. Stephen will take the call. Oh, the lines are lit up now. If I don't get you on the air within the next 30 seconds, you got the right answer, we're still going to give you the supplement gift card. So, there you go. All right. Let's see if he gets on. Okay, Sharon, what's the answer?
I'm guessing the answer is fat.
High-fat diet. Congratulations. Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin. We do well there, too. Thank you so much, Sharon.
Thank you.
It's great. Love doing the show. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your support. Let's Talk Nutrition, where your health is your wealth, and your health is the wealth of those that care about and love you. Jarrow Formulas.